Hi, this is Kat Chancellor with Stamp Art Connection and StampArtConnection.com. I'm jumping right into a very fast video that is going to demonstrate how I put together some coffin boxes, and then I'm going to make a beautiful wreath. I'm using several techniques. I'm kind of experimenting because this was kind of a on-the-fly type of project. So I just ran the camera, and as I put the project together, I've edited it so that I could kind of go over some of the high spots for you. Here I used the basic pattern decorative masks that's in the holiday catalog, and I am embossing it using the black glitter embossing powder. It comes out with a really nice look. I was kind of going for a decorative glam kind of coffin look. I'm going to do the same thing, but with this box I folded back the tabs because I was kind of fearful that if I had too much embossing powder on the sides, on the tabs of the lid, it would be harder for me to put together. But it really wasn't the case when I showed you the technique for how I put them together. All the information is on my blog. I cleaned off my mask because now I'm going to use an ink technique, and I'm using the Delicata inks, both silver and gold. I'm using a sponge brayer, and I just sponged the brayer right over the lid of my coffin box, and it really came out with a nice effect, and it was really, really fast to do, much faster than trying to emboss all those coffin boxes. I then took one of the coffin box lids that had been embossed with my black glimmer, and it brayered those, and it really gave it a nice effect. Kind of antiqued the look. Again, this was very, very fast to do, and is something that you could very easily put a whole group of coffin boxes together. Here I'm using the gold with the brayer technique. This was the best technique for putting together the coffin boxes, just using glue dots. You can see off on the side I did use some tear tape, but that took too much time. Now I've taken some of the 12 by 12 acetate that's featured in the holiday catalog, the Mercury Glass Designer Acetate. I cut a circle. Now I'm just kind of clipping a hole so I can know where the top of my wreath is going to be. I'm laying out strips of black cardstock that are cut about 2 inches wide by 6 inches long, and I've used a tag punch to create the flag cuts at the bottom. Then I'm going to take and do the same thing with Mercury Glass. They're about 2 inches wide by 6 inches again, and I'm going to layer the coffins are going to go around my wreath. Very simple to make. I'm just kind of laying them out. Again, this was an on-the-fly project that I just ran the camera as I was putting it together so you could see how it's done. I love putting together wreaths with Stampin' Up! Projects. They always really give me a lot of inspiration. So here I'm kind of laying out how I want the coffin boxes to be arranged, and I basically put the embossed ones. I kind of intersperse those. I've cut some of the bats from last year's bat punch. Now to put my wreath together, I first just used some of the snail, and then I reinforced it on the back of my wreath using all-purpose glue. That was to make sure everything stuck really, really well. Next, I'm going to go ahead and arrange my coffin boxes. You can see up to the top I have a smaller flag. That is where my ribbon is going to go. And I'm kind of arranging the embossed coffin boxes kind of at a 2, 10, and 6 position. And then I'm putting in the other coffin boxes around them. I'm just using snail right now to get the coffin boxes arranged, but later I'm going to use both glue, the all-purpose glue, and some glue gun. Now I've taken these neat little eyes, and they are featured again. They're the assorted googly eyes in the holiday catalog, and I just want to have some fun. I started out using glue dots to try to adhere the eyes, and that did not work. So I switched over, and you'll see me here in the tape. I switched over to using all-purpose glue. I just put a couple of dabs of all-purpose glue, and that worked perfectly. There's my all-purpose glue right there on the right, and I've adhered all my little googly eyes on my coffin boxes, and I've also adhered my bats that are made out of silver glimmer paper, silver just foil paper, and I just adhered those again with a little bit of all-purpose glue. And I'm just having fun. I've got all my little bats in the middle, and I'm just kind of arranging them as I go. It's really a fun project. You can have a lot of fun with this, and just kind of play around with the different shapes. And I really liked the idea of kind of coming up with the black and silver and the glimmer paper. I thought that was really striking. So there you go. That's pretty much the basis of the wreath. The next thing I'm going to do in the next portion is I'm going to take some of that, some really pretty ribbon. It was left over from, I think it's in the annual catalog, and I'll make sure to have that on my blog. I'm just kind of testing it to make sure everything kind of was well adhered. So here's the ribbon. I just cut about, I think they're about 8 to 6 strip lengths, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold them in half, and I'm going to use a glue gun, and I'm just going to paste them in between my coffin boxes. It adds a little bit of another layer of glimmer, as well as a little bit of movement with the wreath. And finally, because it's that beautiful glimmered ribbon, it just makes the whole thing kind of sparkle. Again, kind of going for that really neat little Halloween glam. What I do is I make a wreath for my hairdresser every month for every season, and I put it up at her station with my business card. And that's one of the ways I have found that I enjoy marketing my business, as well as it kind of inspires me to be creative and to come up with a holiday wreath for each season. Now I'm going to take my glue gun, and what I'm trying to do is make sure that my lids are adhered and that there aren't any loose areas. Now I would have done this first had I thought about it, but because this is kind of an on the fly, I should have put some kind of trim on the inside of my wreath before I lay down my coffin boxes. So all I'm trying to do here is I've taken some of the black ribbon that's featured in the catalog, the basic black scalloped edge ribbon, and I'm just kind of adhering that inside along the edges of the raw acetate, trying to create kind of a much smoother inside. Now what's really nice about this is as you have your glue, it kind of leaves those neat trails that do look like plastic web. Thank you for joining me. Happy many blessings.